What's up, Rockstars? Today I have a great video for you. We got a lot of news to go over. In fact, so much news, and I'm actually splitting this into two videos. So this is just focused on all of the amazing campaigns that are available right now, a lot of which are ending very, very soon. So we're going to want to go through that, see where they ended up, see why they ended up where they ended up, what's available, all that sort of stuff. We'll be going over that, and including a lot that I haven't even shown on this channel yet. So you may not even be aware of it. So that's what this video is for here. There will be links down in the description below. Following this, there will be one that goes over some that are coming up, as well as some controversy, some companies that are being formed by other companies that aren't delivering, and it's the same people, and people are questioning what's going on, and it can get kind of messy, right? So I'm going to dive into that and really spell it out for you guys, and let you guys know what's going on in the crowdfunding board game space, so stay tuned for that as well. Let's get into the video. Now, as always, I am here in my Into the AM shirt. Super comfy, looks great, feels great, of course, always love it. They are a sponsor of today's video as well, so feel free to use the link in the description below to save yourself 10% on top of any sales they have. If you look at their screen right now, you can see that they have a 40% off basics sale, but they actually are constantly doing sales. Like every time I check them out, they are doing sales. In fact, up to 50% off packs of the week. So you can check and see what the packs of the week are, save 50%. And again, 10% on top of that with the link in my description. Helps the channel out, helps you get a better deal as well. Consider it like free shipping, essentially. It's really, really awesome. Their shirts are so good. I need to get myself another button up because I love how they look at work and they feel super comfortable. I don't even change them when I come home. These all-day pants, literally all day. Again, love them. They are so comfy, but they are constantly coming out with stuff. They have the Tea Club. You get your first month free on that. They have literally every single week. They have new shirts, all these cool graphic shirts that they have. Guys, I cannot tell you enough. This is an older shirt. I have washed this shirt a ton of times. Well, my wife has washed this shirt a ton of times. And it still feels great. It still looks brand new. It still feels amazing. Can't recommend Into the AM enough. Again, they are linked down below. Save yourself 10% extra with my code down there. Thank you so much, Into the AM. And let's go ahead and jump into Wandering Galaxy, a Crossroads game. 148,000. So 12 days to go. This is interesting. It's the very first campaign ever run by Plaid Hat Games. As you can see, first created, even zero backed. They are brand new to crowdfunding. Their first one on Kickstarter gets a project we love. Now, this is interesting because it says a Crossroads game, and besides it being spelled out here, there's not a lot tying it to the other ones. So you can kind of get it right. It says a Crossroads Games here, but then notice here it doesn't, right? And so it kind of mentions it. It kind of doesn't. This is actually pretty neat, I feel. Now it is, again, save $10. Well, obviously, then you're going to ship it, so it's not like it's necessarily cheaper, but it does let them know that you want more of these. In fact, people are wanting more. As you can see, Tom Vassell over here saying, hey, if it was third, I'm all for it. So he's having fun with that. It's designed by Jerry Hawthorne, so he did like Stuffed Fables and all those kind of really nice games that I remember back when I first started. Mice and Mystics was big as well. So I think that seems pretty good. And honestly, it looks like there's quite a bit. They said there's like 70 missions or some junk like that. Like there's a lot of game here. Yeah, 70 unique jobs and hundreds of otherworldly events to help you and your crew build a fortune or just get out of debt. It's essentially like Guardians of the Galaxy, the board game. Now you are marking stuff on your like board or paper or whatever, but yeah, it seems pretty cool. I think it's a quality game. Obviously, Plaid Hat Games makes really good games, I feel, so I'm happy with that. Of course, it is standees, of course, and tokens and whatnot. It's a retail game essentially, just here on crowdfunding, which is kind of interesting. And I think they might be struggling a bit to tell you why. Oh, it's even got Christopher Sabat there. So Vegeta will be narrating people on that, so that's awesome. He'll be Gary Belkos. That's pretty darn sweet, I feel. So they're definitely like putting effort into making this really nice, and I think that's awesome. I really do. You can get all three. A Freelance and Forgotten Waters for $130, and then you can see here that $60. I apologize for that, or $100, or then that 150 or 130 as well for that one. So either way, it's about $60. Again, it's kind of like retail here, right? I mean, that's pretty much what you're looking at there. So that's kind of interesting that they decided to do crowdfunding, and I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe just to test the waters. Let me know your thoughts below on how you feel about that and them, a very retail-heavy company coming here. Would we see Wandering Galaxy without crowdfunding? Kind of hard to tell. I love your opinion on that. Moving on from that, we got Monster Kill the board game. This is fascinating. This is super cool, and it's one of the reasons I brought it all the way up. So it was already interesting to see a retail company coming to crowdfunding this late into crowdfunding. Is kind of interesting, right? Into the industry actually kind of supporting crowdfunding, and then they come in all the way over here. Now, $9,000 and a $217 goal. And I know what you're thinking, oh my gosh, that is like fake. No, this is nothing but a print and play game. And in fact, this guy Radic, that's what he does. He does these print and play games so he can make and create games and get them out to people and do it cheap. He doesn't need a whole huge, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do some mass market crowdfunded board game where you mass print in China and then ship globally. It's almost the most hilarious oxymoron, or it's just an interesting thing that Kickstarter, a lot of people, GameFound, whatever, it doesn't matter, backer kit, where you're looking at board games and you want them to be like, oh, these are the ones that couldn't go to retail, that are like mass market or niche and not mass market, and they only appeal to certain things. They're all creative, and yet they all make them in the same place the retail guys do. It's all about selling tens of thousands of copies if you can. It just seems kind of silly to me. Nope, not him. 567 people are going to be able to play his game almost right after the campaign and enjoy it. And he was able to design it and make money doing it and get it out to people. And he didn't have to go do anything crazy here. In fact, this game, all in, $14. $14. If you just want the core game, $7. This is a $7 game, guys. And it's like a full game, which is really kind of interesting. It also means that he can iterate quick. You could update things. When it comes to print and play, there's actually a lot of options there for it that are pretty cool. And there are some services that'll print it out for you, too. You can get the STLs to print out minis if you want. Just really neat that he does this. In fact, I was looking at some of his other stuff, and some of his other stuff, it made like $32,000 in junk. Like he's done pretty well for himself. Like a lot of these, again, hugely funded. So this one ends in 5 days at time of recording, but we'll see it jump up. I'm sure it's definitely going to get over 10,000 easy, I think. And so, yeah, pretty awesome, I think. I love seeing stuff like this on crowdfunding. I think that's awesome. Zoo Tycoon, the board game New Shores. So this is a reprint plus an expansion, the New Shores. For almost 500,000 is what it's getting towards. Almost 3,000 backers. Still 5 days ago. Pretty impressive there. Obviously, a lot of support, especially as they reprint and an expansion. It shows that a lot of people really enjoyed the core game, which is awesome. Now, one thing that is kind of interesting is, I mean, this expansion, if I won't click on that, there's a lot here, and I love the meeples that are all the different animals and they're screen printed, and actually they're actually pretty cute. I like it. I know my youngest daughter would love this game, just all the different components and pictures and stuff like that. It's like half the games she plays in Roblox are like this. So she would love all of these, right? You get the Arctic foxes and the polar bears and the reptile eggs and the jaguars and even black-footed ferrets. Any game with ferrets I think is good. Hippos, sheep, all sorts of stuff. I think these are awesome. The saltwater crocodiles and the green sea turtles and zebra sharks and sea otters and all. Again, there's a lot here. However, it's kind of an expensive expansion, I feel. It kind of surprised me. This is the expansion. The standard edition is $86. And then the deluxe edition is $97 for the expansion. And that's pretty crazy to me that it's that much. Seems like a lot to me. What are your thoughts? So why is it so much? What is it? Is it really expensive to kind of make these really, they're good looking, shaped, printed meeples. I love them. I think they look awesome. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's just the different tiles, the fact that they're tiles and not cards, and so you get a lot of that. It could be a lot of that. I'm not sure. Let me know. Again, I'm less familiar with these kinds of games. I'm mostly here because of Zoo Tycoon as kind of a brand. But yeah, it just seemed like a lot to me, right? Yeah, the base game, 114, which again just seems like a lot to me. But then again, everything's expensive these days, isn't it? It's expensive to manufacture and ship it and do all that stuff. That's why companies are struggling so much as well, not just us. Anyway, it's doing very well. So obviously, it's a great game. And at that point, you're investing in a game that people enjoy, that you'll probably enjoy. So I'm a little bit more forgiving on a high price if it's kind of a sure deal for me that I'll enjoy it. So if this is looking good to you, I'm sure it's fine. All right, the Flames of Fafnir. This one, there was a preview of that I showed off, and now it's actually launched. And in fact, it's only 3 days left to go. So at the time of recording, so by the time you see this, it might be around the 2-day mark, the last 48 hours. Barely over 100,000. Kind of interesting. Less than 1,000 backers. It's by Lucky Duck Games. I know that they've been struggling. They're like 2 years delayed and stuff like that on like some of their other campaigns. They have 2 outstanding campaigns. They're doing a translation thing, and they were bought out. So there's like all of this like hoopla around them, and I think on top of that, there's a bit of negativity. If you read the comments here, I'm not going to show them right now, but if you read the comments, a lot of it is fairly negative, or at least there's definitely some people that are upset. I'll put it that way. Not everybody is. The game itself, I like the idea of. Like, it looks like fun. Like, I love the big dragon that's you get a standee otherwise, right? But for the campaign, you can get this nice big dragon here, and you roll the marbles down and stuff like that. I think people were talking around a Board Game Co. video of it, but it's not posted here. I think he may have been a little critical of it, in which case it didn't get posted on the campaign. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and it happens. But it's also a prototype, right? And this is a very physics-based game, so that's kind of hard in and of itself. Where, like, you know, are the marbles heavy enough or big enough, or is it rolling well, or is there too much friction? Like, there's all this kind of stuff that they can fine-tune for the final product, of course. Yeah, I see there's a standee versus the minis. Obviously, the minis look cool. It seems, I think it looks cool and interesting. But, again, I am a little cautious when it comes to Lucky Duck games, just because I feel when you get a lot of negativity around you, often there's a reason for it. And I've had negativity around me too, and there was a reason for it. So it happens. It also has a wolf, so that's a plus as well. So they do have some expansions, as you can see, as well, that you can also buy. There's more terrain and stuff that you can do, and they do have some videos showing it off here. Obviously, I imagine they're fairly positive, so you might want to look online and see if there's other people that maybe got a prototype that you could look at as well, if you're curious around that. With the expansions, they're about pretty accurate price. He's pretty expensive, but he's also like 230 millimeters, right? 23 centimeters tall. Easy to paint. I don't know what that means. Sure, I guess. I don't know what easy to paint means. Like, does that... The only thing I hate to paint is freaking snakes. Because I hate anything round, because you have to, like, get the whole edge around it. And it's hard to, like, do the shading, because you have to go around it, and then it starts drying, you get those tide marks. But often they're always wrapped around, and you can't, like, stick your straight, solid, like, brush, like, in between to get the inside. I hate painting, like, snakes. Like, seriously. So maybe it's that. Maybe that's all they mean. Otherwise, I don't understand what easy versus hard to paint is. It all depends on the level of detail you decide to paint them. So, well, I don't know what that means, but I guess that's cool. The game itself, basic pledge. I don't necessarily like the word basic. It definitely sounds like you don't want people to buy it, which maybe they don't, but in that case, don't offer it. It just feels bad to spend money on something named basic, in my mind. Unless that's a real marketing value, right? Like, oh, hey, we got rid of all the extras. This is just the core basic stuff that you want. Either way, it's about $86. And then the collector pledge is about $173. So it is fairly pricey too. And I think a lot of that is the 3D terrain and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, and 900 plus backers. It's interesting that they put that there. What an interesting campaign. All right, Aces in Armor, 5 days left, over 100,000 raised. This game looks pretty neat to me. One of the things I like around it is, again, it's a cool skirmish game, multiplayer skirmish game, 1 to 4 players. That often those are limited to like 2 players. But they have these little tracks here, XP and health, so you can see the health of all the enemies that are there and yours, but also like their like rank as they rank up and level up as they go through the battle, which I think is pretty neat as well. So otherwise, yeah, the minis seem fairly good. I do like that they have aircraft. I always enjoy anything that can be flying and go overhead, and you get that little bit of verticality there, right? So overall, I think it looks pretty neat. I think that's cool that it has, you know, pretty much everything you would need, but again, not a whole lot of each one. It's not something that's like this massive game where you have like, oh, I got these 20 tanks and these 50 units here, and you know, it's not Warhammer, right? And I appreciate that as well. So yeah, it looks cool. And it's based off of the core aspect of it is based off of a World War One game that is highly reviewed on BGG at least, so people seem to be liking it. All right, next up we have Ascension Legends, 773 backers, 150,000 plus raised, still 12 days to go, so plenty to go on this one. It's a deck building game. I love deck building games, so I'm a fan of that. The art looks really cool. This is a long-standing game, but a lot of the things they haven't printed in a while, and you can get them through here. So you can get a lot of cards here. In fact, you can spend quite a bit of money here. So if you just want the Ascension Legends Standard Edition plus protection for it, which is awesome, so you get like sleeves and stuff, $80. Otherwise, the Ascension Legends Standard Edition versus is like $40 normal, right? So this is the most popular is, hey, you get the game and you get to protect it, right? Otherwise, it's about $40, which again, when it's just cards, super helpful to have a little bit cheaper stuff there. You can get all foil for $60. That's awesome. I love that. The fact that you can get them foil, love it. Love foil cards. I will never not let, I don't care that they're curved. I don't care that they don't like hold well. They're awesome. I love foil cards. It's just more fun to have them. And then you have the foil version protected even for $95. So again, a lot of different options here, right? This is the big one. So $399, so $1 under $400, and you get everything. This is a ton. Look at all these expansions. Now these are all just like deck sets, right? But either way, when it comes to deck building games, more options are better, right? Always, of course. For like high replayability, my opinion at least. Because if it's too small, you tend to find a tactic you like and then just always do that tactic. There's no variation. And oh, well, if you introduce this deck, it adds this feature. And if you do this, it does that. And when it comes to longevity, if you're going to play the game a lot, that is super helpful. So that's pretty cool. Also does have stretch pay, which helps. So it's about $100 a month. So in other words, it's about 4 months of $100 payments. But it does make you kind of be able to ease into a $400 deck building game, which often you build up to, but if you're coming in late like this is the way to get it. So, and you can buy these all individually too as you need. They're about $25 a pop. So either way, I think that's pretty cool. I love it. Definitely a fan. I think it looks cool. It does have this little mat here where you're like going up in rankings to get like special heroes and stuff, which is kind of cool. A little bit different than a lot of other deck building games. DC Superheroes United. This is where all my money's going. As you can see right now, I have $345 via stretch pay, of course, on that. Not crazy. That being said, almost a 2 million, over 8,000 backers, still 4 days to go. They haven't introduced the all-in. Once they introduce the all-in, it's going to shoot up even more. I think this is going to easily get over 2 million. Just by the trajectory alone. Now, they did add quite a lot, hence the 345. In fact, that's not quite everything that I got. So, I've shown this off already. So if you look here, these are kind of the main expansions. I don't have the team decks yet. I might add them. It's $15. Sure, why not? Probably doesn't add a lot to the shipping. It'll probably be in the all-in. If it is, I'll get it that way. Otherwise, I'm not sure. It's essentially an alternate way of playing where you get these themed cards, and that's always an option for you while you have your other cards, but you have to pick characters that match the theme. So it's very like highly controlled so they could do interesting things and it works thematically. I like that idea. I think that's super cool. If you're not getting everything, it makes less sense to get because you're going to get decks with characters you don't have. But with add-ons, you always have some characters to go into it. Not add-ons, stretch goals as well. They have the sidekicks, they have the Gotham City, they have the Metropolis Green Lantern Corps, Suicide Squad, Justice Society of America, and Arkham Asylum. Breakout is their latest one. This is their most expensive one, and it's because it has a whole lot. It has Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, the Riddler, Scarecrow, the Penguin, Batman in Armor, Spoiler, Robin, Damian Wayne's version, and the Batgirl, Cassandra Cain. One thing I like about this, that I feel like they're doing a lot. Oh, also Man, Bad, and Mr. Freeze with a foggy, clear helmet that comes detached so you can paint his face and then put it on. Super cool. Is I feel like they're doing really good versions of these. So sometimes when you get IP, for whatever reason, they do like these kind of odd versions of them. I'm not exactly sure why, but I've seen it happen, especially with like superheroes and stuff like that. These are like the classic version. And it's kind of weird because then it's with the chibi. Oh, by the way, this is how you use that coin that you get if you back. Like this is the classic version of Riddler that people have really grown to love since he's been introduced with the long skinny cane and stuff like that. I really enjoy the versions that they're having. I think it's the classic version that a lot of people really enjoy. And so it is kind of funny to have that. And Killer Croc probably is maybe a little different than that. And same with Scarecrow. So now I'm proving myself wrong, but for the most part, I feel like these are the versions that like people really go towards and enjoy. And that's awesome. I think that's great. But again, it is kind of funny because then it's chibi, so it's like slightly different. If we go to stretch goals, and again, I'm not going to show everything. Captain Boomerang, again, very popular version of Captain Boomerang here in his look and style and feel, so that's really cool. They have Stargirl and Stripe. This guy's really large, so if you look at a size thing there, he is quite big. And super easy to paint because it's just all silver, right? But they also have stuff like Zatanna, one of my favorite magic users, so that's fun to see. They have like arm fall off guy. This guy, his arms actually come out like they're like pegs, so the mini itself, his arms fall off. Just a joke character, you can like throw his arms at people and stuff. But they also have like Deadshot and just some really fun characters that a lot of people know, as well as some that maybe they don't so much. Swamp Thing, I think he looks great. They got the Question, which is cool. Talia al Ghul, again with the classic kind of white dress here. The Katana, they have a ton. Like these are really good picks, I feel. So some of them are kind of interesting, like Hawk Girl's here, and then Hawkeye is in the one of the expansions. I'm trying to think of where he is. He's in one of these. I don't remember. I think Justice Society is Hawkman right there. There he is. So anyway, there's a whole lot here. It's doing very well, which I'm happy with because it's DC. Now there are tons of characters that they haven't done yet, so there is definitely room for more if they chose to do it. They're not even doing a lot of deep dives. Even stuff like Condiment King is like a classic, where like he's so silly, obviously not a serious character, but he's well known enough, I feel, to where a lot of people are like, oh yeah, or like Polka Dot Man and stuff like that. So yeah, I think they've done a pretty good job keeping it pretty on point. All right. Season 5 of Sleeve Kings is up, by the way. 36,000 raised, 300 plus backers, 18 days to go. This is a very good way to get sleeves if you need them. That being said, you need to do a little bit of research. Now, it does show how on BGG you can click on the sleeve it and get some information there. You can also often get it from the back of your box if you want, and then you can start ordering what you want. Or go super, pinpoint and, I want this $2.50 bag here. If you're serious about sleeving your games, though, and you need a lot of sleeves, this is a fantastic way to do it. Just because you save so much on like shipping and stuff like that, just to get it in bulk like that. And they're pretty cheap per unit as well, while still being good quality. So yeah, these are actually kind of nice. This is the 3D print. I haven't shown a 3D print campaign in a while. What I like about this one, besides the IP theft, which I don't care. If I get something cool, it's whatever. Is the fact that it's like $18 and you get all three of these really cool R2D2 or the actual like tower for the Eye of Sauron with the eye up there as well, the kind of the movie version, of course, but you get that, or even the Sorting Hat from Harry Potter. So some really fun ones there, obviously. And if you're like a mage, right, in a D&D, I can see this being super helpful. And it just, I don't know, they're really cool, obviously. They're just good talking points, if nothing else. So very cool towers for Dice Towers. And again, that's doing quite well. 14,000 rates. That's not bad. All right. Now, these are some that I've covered before that are either going to be ending or just need an update. Kemet has gone up about 100,000, I think, since I covered it last time, 635,000. And it does keep going. And so it's 12 days to go. So quite a lot there. Now, when it comes to add-ons, they have, the pretty much the same stuff they've had. And in fact, their stretch goals, same kind of stuff here. They're finally added, tuck boxes replaced, but not a whole lot of stretch goals, as you can see, which is kind of an interesting thing to see them do so well without stretch goals. Goes to show people are just there for the game. Kind of interesting. SIRENS, the Deep Sea, that's ending in about 2.5 days at time of recording. 670 backers, 176,000 raised. Again, I think it's done well for itself. I think people were projecting it to do a bit more. It had a lot of followers, like 11,000 or some chunk like that. It was pretty high there. So they were kind of slow to get some videos out of it and stuff like that. I think that kind of hurt them a little bit. But otherwise, it looks really crisp. Like, it looks nice. I think it looks pretty. But it is kind of an odd game too, and I think it's kind of hard to really pinpoint exactly what kind of game this is, just because you're doing so many different things, mechanically wise. Terrorscape is also ending, again, in about 2 days at time of recording. 727,000 raised. At this point, they have shown off everything. So if we go to the new stuff here, this is what you're getting here. This Queen, Dead Summoning and Domination, and then you get these new survivors here that all look fun, and then there's the new map. So that's what they're kind of adding now. And of course, you can get deluxe storage boxes and the original campaign worth of stuff, and you can get foil stamping, you can get all this. This is funny, it's just an edit, but it's really just a sun drop or a wash on the miniatures that'll make them look this kind of color, essentially. But it is kind of funny that they did this like digital version of it, which is kind of interesting. But it works, showing you kind of what it would be like. So, very popular game, though. I think it's doing quite well. And again, almost 1 million. They've done quite well. Over 4,000 backers for, again, a follow-up. So, very, very cool. It does have really cool terrain. I don't know if it shows it here very well or not, but just the building itself is super cool. Yeah, right here. That's awesome. It's got good table presence, that's for sure. Next up, Historica, Arcanum, Cults of London. 72,000 raised, 428 backers, 9 days to go. Still a lot of time to go. That being said, it has fairly stagnated as far as I can tell. Hasn't really increased too much. If you go to the stretch goal details, you can see that all stretch goals will apply to all backers. So there's the details there. You actually have to go to stretch goals here to actually see them. And a lot of them are just like question marks or unlock here. So it's kind of hard to get excited about it when you don't really see anything. So I think it's a little lackluster there. Additionally, I don't know that a lot of people understand the RPG section of it and the fact that this is a board game based on an IP. And so you can still get these RPG books, but it's not like, it doesn't really do a whole lot of telling you exactly what is and isn't part of the board game, I feel. And I think that might confuse some people as well. Otherwise, it looks really pretty. So there is that for sure. Whether or not it plays great, don't know. You'd have to kind of take a look at it. So feel free to let me know if you feel it does or does not. All right. That is it for campaigns that are going on right now. That's already a lot. That's plenty. But I will be following up with another video, so stay tuned for that. I'll be following up very quickly to this one, going over some really cool stuff, including a new video game IP that is super cool that was announced by a company that I think might do pretty well with it as well. If nothing else, it'll have some great minis. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. I haven't shown it off yet, but it looks really cool. Definitely a theme that is like strong for this company and something that I kind of like. So yeah, stay tuned for that, of course. And again, a whole lot of like drama and some other stuff like that we'll get into. That'll be fun. Again, coming up later, so subscribe if you haven't. Again, check out Into the AM. They make fantastic shirts. Link down in the description below. Save yourself 10% on top of any sales that they have, which they have all the time. Feel free to check out that link there. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye, guys.